Do you know that Christmas is 2 weeks away? It happens like this every year, doesn't it? The theme that we are working with this month is called The Prospering Power of Love, and it is based on a book written by Catherine Ponder. And I brought a copy of it here to show you. Catherine Ponder was born in 1927 in February, so then that makes her, this coming February, she will turn 90 years old. She became a Unity minister in 1956, and she started churches in Alabama, in Texas, and then in 1973, she started the church that she still heads up today in Palm Desert, California. So if you want to take a little sojourn here someday, you can go over to see Catherine Ponder. She is a prolific writer. She's written 15 books to her credit. And the book that we're studying this month, The Prospering Power of Love, I thought was interesting how we can weave what she gives us, this information in this book on the power of love, and how it relates to our Christmas celebration in this year, this season. We, in this church, I look at us as New Thought Christians. If you look at the textbook that religious science is founded on, the Ernest Holmes textbook, he has a whole big chapter on the teachings of Jesus. And so we very much look at these teachings of Jesus and the metaphysical interpretations of the Bible as a basics of what we look at to help us move through this experience called life. And so today's topic I chose as angels all around. And many of us are familiar, I'm sure, with the story, the Christmas story, and how that the angel was the one that heralded, told the people, the shepherds in the fields what was going on, and let them know, this is the birth of this Christ, the Savior has come, and let's go check it out, let's go see what it was. The angel, prior to the birth of Jesus, also made a visit to Mary and to Joseph to prepare them as well for the news, for what was going to be happening here. And both Mary and both Joseph took that news to heart. They didn't understand it really, but they didn't argue. No, not like Moses, who argued. What are you picking me for? But Mary and Joseph both said yes. And they agreed to cooperate with however God was going to use them in the coming days. And so the angels, actually, if you look it up in the metaphysical Bible, the angels are representations of the messengers of God. That's what they're about. And what's so interesting is, as you read Catherine Ponder's book, how many of you have picked up a copy for yourself? Have you gotten one yet? She talks about this power of love. And really what the essence of the book is about is to make us cognizant, make us consciously aware of what this love is and how that we can make it more and more dominant in our life experiences. Let it move through us, to be us in expression. And Catherine Ponder is one of those folks that writes very prolifically and utilizes, just like we had last month with Louise Hay's work, they use a lot of affirmations. You'll see when you go through this book, there's a lot of affirmations about love and helping you to be aware of what it is that I want to think about, not what I don't want to think about. What is it, the truth that I want to implant in my conscious mind? And so there's a lot of affirmations there. Like Louise Hay, Catherine Ponder says basically the same kind of thing. If whatever problem we have going on in our lives, in our experience, the bottom line, get to the crux of it, get to the meat of it, is really somehow a lack of love. Somehow there is something that we are not seeing and acknowledging and experiencing love in it. By the way, a couple weeks ago, I finished up my session with Louise Hay, and I was giving out mirrors. Everybody got a hand mirror. If you didn't get a hand mirror, let me know, because we have a few left over, because the mirror work is what Louise Hay is known for. So you look in the mirror and you look in your eyes and you tell yourself how wonderful you are. Okay, so if you'd missed your mirror, you'll have one before the day's in. Tell me where. I kind of stashed them back there, but I'll let you know where they are. So use that. That's an amazing practice that we can have to build ourselves up, to be accepting of really what we are. So both Louise and Catherine Ponder were guided, were influenced by Emma Curtis Hopkins. Emma Curtis Hopkins was called the teacher of teachers. And she was influencing those folks. She influenced the Fillmores, who started the Unity movement. She influenced Ernest Holmes and several divine scientist ministers. And what she taught in Chicago, she taught in San Francisco and many other cities. And in those days, this was before radio. This was before television. This was before the internet. And she had 50,000 people that would come listen to her speak and listen to the truth that she was imparting, that people, it was new to them. They didn't understand the power of the mind. You know, back then, your medical techniques were not near as advanced as we have today. And people were being healed from all of these maladies. You know, the Fillmores, the Myrtle Fillmore was healed from tuberculosis. And things that they just didn't think that they could ever surmount were being handled by this new thought phenomenon that they were hearing about. That I can actually have an impact on my life through my thoughts. And so the word angel means messenger of God. And the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary says, the office of the angel is to guard and guide and direct the natural forces of the mind and body, which have in them the future of the whole man. Let me read it again. The office of the angels is to guard and guide and direct the natural forces of the mind and body, which have in them the future of the whole man. How many of you here believe in angels? We have some people that are still on the sidelines. That's fine. In her book, she says, if there's any time that you worry, any time that you fear, any time that you are in doubt, say this affirmation. I have nothing to fear. My guardian angel goes before me, making right my way. How many of you had a guardian angel when you were little? You still have. That's right. The guardian angels, I believe, are there for us, leading us, guiding us. Her book is filled with examples of people, general folk, who get back to her and tell her what happened when they used her teachings. I wanted to share with you on page 73, she comes up with this special technique, which I thought was amazing. It's called Special Methods of Love. One of the basic teachings of truth is that all environments, circumstances, and conditions we experience existed first as ideas in our own mind, either consciously or subconsciously. Sound familiar? Okay. One of the great secrets of love is to learn how to clear disharmonious ideas from our own mind. For this, in turn, clears disharmonious experiences and relationships from our life. If you deal in the right way with your own thinking, the people around you will move into right conditions, either in your presence or by moving out of your life. In one way or another, harmony will be established. She said, so I want to share with you a special method for getting your thinking into divine order. promptly and surely. This mystical prayer method can add years to your life as it relieves you of unnecessary worry and friction. It can work wonders in your relationships with others. It may even turn enemies into friends, and it will surely add immeasurably to your own mental and physical health and wealth. You can employ this special method of love secretly with written words. True words are angels. True words are alive with good, and they produce good. But there is a definite method by which you can employ words and produce angelic results. By thinking of the person you are concerned about as having an angel or higher self, spiritual self, if you want to call it that, to whom you write. By writing to a person's angel, you establish in your own thinking a harmonious belief about that person. You radiate your harmonious feeling to that person subconsciously, and you also recognize and bring alive in that person's consciousness his or her own higher spiritual self. There is a special power in writing to the angel of a person you can't help in usual ways or with whom you cannot access reason. There is something about writing words of truth that reaches to the center of reason of such a person, getting past the emotional blocks of vanity, pride, and deception, and past intellectual argument, and penetrating his or her God self. I love this idea. I actually had never thought about this. When you have an issue with someone, if you have some sort of challenge with someone, write to their angel. Ask their angel to intercede for you, to help guide them to their highest and best good. She has all sorts of examples in her book. She talks about one where a mother, evidently there must have been a divorce because her children, her 3 daughters, were having to be living with the father and a stepmother. And it didn't start off well at all. It seemed like it was almost like a Cinderella story where the stepmother was not a fun one to be around. And so the biological mother was concerned about this. She wanted everybody to be happy. So she asked the girls to please write to their own angels, to write to my angel, as well as to the stepmother's angels. She said, words of apology and notes of love were exchanged, followed by hugs and kisses. Happy tears were shed. Later, their mother said, it is a joy to feel the happiness my daughters are now experiencing with their father and stepmother. It works wonders. To allow yourself, what it does, I think, is it removes your ego. It removes you from thinking you have to fix it. When the fix is spiritual. The fix is in the unknown, in the spiritual realm. That's where the angels are. They're all around us. I love that one song that the Double Heart Trio sings. I don't know if they sang it last week when I wasn't here, but I love. Oh, by the way, I'll mention this now. They are having this afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Teachings of the Inner Christ is having their candlelighting service in El Cajon. If you want to go, it's a wonderful event. I've gone many years, and it's singing and candlelighting, so talk to me if you want to know more about that. I've got a flyer, so I'll just throw that in there as I think about it. She had other examples of this, asking your angel or their angel to intercede for you. One of them was a man who was barely able to survive financially. He said, I began to write to my prosperity angel. You notice there are different categories. There's a prosperity angel, there's a health angel. There's a safe destination angel, traveling angel. There's a parking angel. I began to write to my prosperity angel asking for help. Within 2 years, I literally went from rags to riches. Increased supply came miraculously through my work and in other ways. Within 3 years from the time I began writing to my prosperity angel, I was able to retire. Another, we had a brand new truck stolen out of our locked dealership. Instead of getting upset, I wrote to the angel of the person who had stolen this truck, asking that person to release it. A few days later, we received a call saying the vehicle had been found abandoned out of state with the keys still in the ignition. There's all sorts of ways that these angels can do this work for us on our behalf that we have no clue how it works. Healing in Illinois. The friend of a businessman in Chicago was hospitalized, not expected to live. When this businessman learned of his friend's condition, he wrote to the sick man's angel, asking its help in healing him. The next time he heard from the friend, he was not only out of the hospital, but back to work. Another. We had been trying to get help in paying our hospital bills, and the man we spoke to was very hostile. I wrote to his angel asking its help. And the next time I spoke to him, he had completely changed. So we can use this in everyday experiences and everyday interactions with people. Think about enlisting the aid, the help of their angels or our angels. And the emphasis I want to say is on the writing of it. When you write something out, handwriting it out, it physically goes through your body. The kinetics, is that the word? Kinesiology? It gives it so much more power because you're able to get that flow going not only through your physical, mental, and physical body, but down on paper, and then you can see it. I am a visual person a lot, and so when I see that demonstrated down in physical written form, it really helps me. And so I want to encourage you not to just think about something, but to literally write it down and then look at it, see it. You know, I'll have to say, going to Vienna, it was a wonderful experience, and yes, they have cathedrals and churches and all of that all over the place, a lot of Catholic things. And it had been quite a while since I'd been in a Catholic church. My mother was raised Catholic, and so I had been in Catholic churches when I was little, but I was raised Methodist. And as I was in these Catholic churches, I was reminded of seeing what are they called? The stations where you put the candles, where you pray for someone and you light a candle in their name and then you put it like in a little sand. And there were all sorts of those in all the churches. You know, these people were praying for one another. You could tell by the candles that were lit. And it reminded me of when I was little, when I had polio when I was 5. And my mother enlisted the Methodists to pray. She enlisted the Catholics to pray. She had masses said for me, and it was a pretty critical situation. I was in the intensive care for 10 days, and at one point, the doctors had told my parents that you know, if she doesn't eat today, we just don't know if she's going to make it. This is a critical time, and she's really going to need to start eating. And they served spaghetti that day. And I love spaghetti. So I know that the angels were in the kitchen making up the menu for that day and helped me get turned around in my life. So I stayed in the hospital after that for 6 months, recuperating from the polio. And that event changed my life drastically. There's no doubt about it. But I know that the ultimate outcome is good. And I know that all of us go through times of stress, times when we would prefer not to have something happen. And yet ultimately, love is the power that is presenting that experience to us, through us, giving us what we need through it. In her book, she mentioned the prophet, Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. And I wanted to read this. I wanted to end with reading this, and I'm trusting I'm going to get through it. Then said Alchamra, "Speak to us of love." And he raised his head and looked upon the people, and there fell a stillness upon them. And with a great voice he said, "When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among the pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as if for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tender branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them to the clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn he gathers you unto himself. He thrashes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor, into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and weep, but not all your tears. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not that you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy, to return home at evening time with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. This season that we are in, this Christmas season, is all about love. That's what it truly is about. And I'm encouraging you this week to look for the angels, to know they're there, to give yourself the opportunity of writing to them, of yours and others, letting them help you through this process that we call life. Whatever problems, whatever issues you have, let yourself be guided by the love that is always here among us. That is your task. That is your homework. That is your charge. And so it is. Namaste.